Yo, what is up? My name is Zara. Welcome to my channel, to Infinity and Beyond. Today I'm going to be showing you this Among Us pouch that I've made. It has like a zip that you can obviously open and close to put things inside. On the back where the air is stored in real life, like in the game or whatever, I've made it like a little backpack so you can put a flap and put extra things inside them. Also give it a little hat. I chose the egg for this one, but also actually made a bigger one, which is here. This was a bit messy because the glue just went everywhere, so I decided to make another one, and I wanted to make like a small one, so I thought it would be really cute. So anyway, let's get straight into the tutorial. Okay, so first of all you're going to want to print and cut out this like Among Us character template that I made. You can find the link in the description. If you don't have a printer or you don't really want to do this, you can just draw this out, that's absolutely fine. I just was being like pedantic and I wanted to be a bit more accurate, so I made this in Illustrator quickly and then just basically printed it out. And then you can draw around this once you've cut it out onto a piece of foam. So as you can see, I'm using pink and I'm using like an A5 foam sheet. I have folded it in half here to cut around it, but you don't really need to do that. I kind of changed the way that I made this halfway through, so you can just cut out one unless you're making more than one. Then please feel free to cut out two shapes. So this is going to act as like the front or the back of the Among Us like pouch. So once you have that, you can go ahead and also cut out like the face template shape. And I used like a blue foam sheet to draw around this, and then again I cut that out. And then you can just set this aside for later. And then next we need to like cut out some strips for the edge. So I've done mine quite thick, so I did the width of the ruler, which was around 5 centimeters, and I needed about 3 or just under 3 for mine, as I was doing quite a small one. So you can put 2 aside, and then you want to grab one, and we're going to like cut out a gap for the zip. So this is a zip I have, I only had a red one left, and I'm just cutting off the ends so that it's going to fit in between like the foam that I have. You might have longer foam, I don't know. If you have A4 sheets you probably won't need to do this. And then we need to like mark out a rectangle which is going to be cut out for the gap for the zip, so we can actually undo the zip. So I marked the center, and then either side of that I marked like 0.5 centimeter. So it's going to be a 1 centimeter gap, and then I drew the lines connecting it to make like a rectangle, and as you can see the rectangle's there. And then I folded it in half and I cut down the right hand side, and then I flipped it over and did the same again. And then I put my scissors like underneath and cut off the ends to make the gap. You can always use a craft knife if you want, I just used scissors because I thought this way would just be a bit easier. Then you want to make sure that the zip fits. So once you're happy with the cutout, you can go ahead and put some glue down the left and right hand sides of your zip. So just be careful not to actually get like glue on your zip because you won't be able to open it. And then you can place that upside down onto the foam sheet where we just cut out the rectangle. Press it down nice and firm. I'm just using some super glue. And then double check that your zip opens. So once your zip is done, you can then attach this to the cutout that we did in the beginning of the video. And I simply just use some like super glue and put this along the edge. And then I just pressed it around the top half of the character. This is where I wanted my zip. You might want it in a different place, but I thought this was the best place for it. Especially as like the legs are a bit annoying to work with. And once I did that, I also went ahead and put some glue like along the inside edge just to help secure it, keep it all in place. And then I just waited for that to dry for a few minutes. So next I moved on to doing the legs. So I kind of like eyeballed this and cut out the foaming, was like testing it to see how much I needed to wrap around. And then I cut it to size. So again, I'm just using super glue to attach this. So I put some along the edge of like the bottom of the leg, and then also the edge of the previous piece I've just done. And once again, I pressed this together and then folded it around that leg. as you can see here, and then I did cut it down a bit because it was just a tad long. And again, I just held it in place for a few seconds while it dried, and I also did this with the other legs, so then it should look something like this. And then lastly, I did leave like the crotch area free, and I used like a rectangular piece of foam which was larger than the gap, and I stuck it like along the bottom of like the inside, and then also along the edge, like the top edges of those legs, so it came out looking like that. And then next I put some glue all the way around the front and pressed this down onto some foam and waited for that to dry once again, so a lot of waiting for the glue to dry. And then I cut around this with my craft knife on my cutting mat, and then I neatened it up with like a pair of scissors just for the bits I couldn't really get with my craft knife. So next I grabbed like the face piece and put some glue in it and just simply stuck this down to the side that I wanted to be the front of my pouch. And then I moved on to doing like the backpack thing. So I kind of eyeballed this, I didn't really have any exact measurements, and I cut out a strip of my foam, as you can see, and then I like cut it down so it wouldn't be too like wide, as it would like topple over. And once I was happy with that size, I then got another piece of foam and I put glue along the edge of the piece I just cut out, and then I stuck this onto the other piece of foam, as you can see, and kind of like making like that rounded squarey shape, or whatever it's called, of the backpacks, or like the air tank things that they have on their backs. And I pressed this down for a few seconds to make sure it would stick, and then I grabbed my scissors and I just cut around that shape. So I was kind of left with like this open pouch shape that I could then stick onto the back of the bigger pouch with the zipper, basically. And before I did that, I just marked on another piece of foam how wide it was so that I could cut a strip out, which would then become the flap to like the backpack. And then I went ahead and glued this onto the back of the pouch. My glue was almost running out here, so I had to squeeze it quite a bit. And then with this strip, I was just making sure it fits and I would have enough to like tuck it in. And I went ahead and like rounded off the end, like one of the ends, so that it would just fit nicer, as it was just a bit too snug with the square edge. And then I folded the opposite end to make like a crease, and then I put glue on this part to then stick like inside the backpack along the back of the pouch. So I just pressed that down for a few seconds, making sure it was nice and stuck. And then once that was dry, I went ahead and like tucked that flap in, made sure it fitted nicely. And I did add a bit of a creaser just to help it like stay in place. And then that's basically the backpack done. So lastly, I grabbed some like silk clay that I had, and I wanted to make like the egg hat for it. So I basically shaped an egg using some white silk clay and some yellow silk clay. I really like this clay as it's like super easy to work with. You don't have to bake it in the oven or anything like polymer clay and that. And it actually dries quite quickly with small pieces like this. So it's really good. And once again, I used my trusty super glue and put some glue on the bottom of the egg, and then stuck this down onto the top of the pouch. And I also like pushed it down a bit just so that it was like hanging over the top of the head like it is in the game. And there you have it, an Among Us zip pouch with a little backpack space too. I also made this big one, so you can make a big one if you want. I think they're super cute and it's a really cool DIY. So I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please leave a like, and if you'd like to see more from myself, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye!